Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something Else.
Something Else, Daddy.
This is Nicole Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Genie, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 219 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from August 4th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Chris Charlton / Rocky Romero / Drilla Mahoney / everybody else who did commentary during the G1 with Walker Stewart. It's Trae. Trae, how you doing today?
Great. You know, the best I've been in a very long time. I am, as the kids say, back on my bullshit.
Awesome. That is always good to hear. That is always good to hear. Now, we here at Something Else do occasionally listen to what, the listener has to say. And since one of the most oft put pieces of feedback we get is that it takes us too long to start talking about the show, and we wait and we talk about too much bullshit in the meantime, Trae, we're going to start talking about the show now. Unless you have something you desperately need to say now and not wait till we finish World Class.
Oh, I can wait 5 minutes to go off on a wild tangent.
Well, an hour and 5 minutes because we got to do Mid-South first. And then World Class.
Look, I said that we would get into the show faster. I did not say I would stop going off on wild tangents.
Okay, remember, YouTubers, I'm the one that tried to get us on track, and Trae's the one who promised that in 5 minutes he will take us off track. But
I don't promise that it'll be in 5 minutes. I promise that it'll be when I find it necessary.
Sounds good. All right. So Mid-South Wrestling, August 4th, 1984. Trae, did you notice the new theme song and video package for Mid-South?
I sure did. Good job, Joel. That was very good.
Thank God. I was sitting here like, I swear to God, if Trae doesn't realize this, I need a new co-host.
No, I thought it was very good.
Now, I will say this, and I thought about it the first time I saw it, but I really noticed it at the end of the show. Did you notice who was not in the new opening video package? And there's a lot of people not in the opening video package. Like, I'm not in the opening video package. You're not in the opening video package. But there's one very specific person that you would think in Mid-South Wrestling at this point would be in the opening video package that is not.
Who was that?
The Junkyard Dog.
Huh. That's interesting. But maybe that's why. Maybe he was offended.
I mean, so just to correct things, last week I thought we were at the penultimate episode of Dog. I was a week off. This is the penultimate episode of Dog. Next week is the last week. Is it possible that, people are always saying that, oh, Bill Watts had no idea and Dog just got up and left and, gave no notice, which that part, he didn't give any notice. That's a verified fact. But it is very possible, looking at this, that he may have had an inkling that Dog was on his way out the door. Because I have a hard time believing Joel's sitting there going, okay, let's get every person in the territory on this video package except for the Junkyard Dog, my father's #1 guy.
I think that there's a very high probability that something is rotten in Denmark, and maybe the legend isn't precisely true that Watts was completely taken aback, but it's also a possibility that Joel just forgot.
I would like to think that if Joel was that stupid, that Bill would have gone, "Hey, asshole, go back in and edit this."
You would like
As
to, yeah, okay.
as great as it is to see Boyd laughing and hitting the desk uproariously, we don't need that shot. Uh,
Well, interesting. Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that does. You see, Arya, that
that
as a historian, which I will remind the listener that I am a trained historian, that is what we call reinvestigating the primary sources to question ahistorical narratives.
I thought you were going to say this is why you keep me on the show. Um,
I think
all
that's
right.
why you keep me on the show.
All right, so let's go to the intro of the show with JR and Joel. I actually note that if Trae doesn't notice the new opening now, he deserves to be smacked upside the head. Um, let's go to JR and Joel, who are going to intro the show. Oh, and by the way, we're then going to go to Bill Watts with a special announcement. In fact, this is pretty darn close to the return of geopolitical Bill Watts. But let's go to that now.
Welcome to another exciting hour of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll be calling the action here, and it's really going to be an action-packed card. I'm excited just seeing that new opening, and Joel, it was a super job that you've done on the new opening here for Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. I had a lot of fun putting it together. I had a whole lot of help from Ron Toma, a director at KTBS, and I'd like to thank all the wrestlers, of course, for providing the action. And you know, Jim, you're right, it's going to be an action-packed hour today. Our big main event today is between the Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Jim Duggan against the Midnight Express for the Mid-South Tag Team titles, and that is a no disqualification bout.
No disqualification it will be, and when we talk about the rules, we do have some special announcements to make during this hour. And to start things off, let's go to ringside and the president of Mid-South, Cowboy Bill Watts.
You know, when I was watching my favorite sport, wrestling on the Olympics, the United States 136-pounder in Greco-Roman in a match beat the Canadian 3-0. Then the FILA, the organization governing the wrestling rules, a protest was entered by his coach. They looked at the films, and overnight the 3-0 victory became a 3-3 tie, which he lost on criteria. He lost his chance to go for the gold medal in Greco-Roman due to winning it on the mat and losing it in the boardroom. And I want to say one thing. Mid-South will never reverse a decision won in the ring due to what's on the videotape. Whatever stays out there, that's going to be the final decision. But we found that a lot of fans have reacted, and they're right, that we have been justifying a situation with Steve Dr. Death Williams and Terry Taylor, where Terry won this medal in the Superdome June the 16th, the television title. Now, Dr. Death had taken it away from the Russian, and we all thought, and he and Terry were friends, so it's kind of a symbolic deal. But when Terry won the medal, Doc didn't give it back to him. And last week, when Terry was going to wrestle the Russian, Doc said, if you beat the Russian, who I took the medal away from, this time I'll really give it back to you. Let's listen to Doc's own words on this subject.
Actually, to be fair, Doc said he'll give it to him. So he technically did give it to him. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to get JYD and Duggan versus the Midnight Express in a no disqualification match for the tag team titles. Trey's about to tell me how he only heard half of what I said, which is fine, Trey, because I didn't say anything. And that we're going to have special announcements. And then, because it's Mid-South, and it's been a while since we've got to hear this, Bill Watts, the promoter of a professional wrestling company, goes on and on about how his favorite sport is amateur wrestling. And no one is actually shocked to hear this, I imagine. But apparently Watts has now stolen back the medal that Dr. Death stole from Crusher Khrushchev before Crusher Khrushchev lost it to Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch. Before we get to the next part. Mm-hmm.
I did actually hear everything that you said. I missed a chunk of what Watts said. I had already heard that, so it wasn't an issue.
Okay. So what were your thoughts on this first section of audio?
That I am going to hold Watts to his profession that Mid-South will never reverse a decision based on videotape.
I'll be honest, I don't know if they ever reversed the decision based on instant replay.
Well, I'm
Actually,
going to be
no,
looking
they
for it if he
did.
does.
They did. They totally fucking did. You remember? I think this was right when you started, when Mr. Olympia won the North American title when he turned heel at the end of the tournament against Junkyard Dog, and then they announced, oh, because we watched the videotape, we're going to reverse that, and the title's going to still be vacated because Dog got screwed over.
Yeah, they also did the thing where TA won the North American title from I don't know, I remember if it was Reed or two, and then lost it to Volkov,
Volkov.
and then
Yep.
but they stripped it and went back to whoever it was at first.
I think it was Reed. Yeah.
This has always been dumb bullshit, like a lot of it.
Yeah. So, well, I guess you could say that they're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna look out because when Watt says some shit like that, I know to look out because I've seen him flip the script quick when it's a baby face jumping off the top rope.
Well, you see, Leaping Lanny wasn't jumping off the top rope. It wasn't Leaping Lanny. Who was it that it was? Was it Mil Mascaras? And he's like,
Mil Mascaras.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was falling off the top rope or something like that. Oh, Lord. So then we get the replay of Doc saying he'd give Terry Taylor, who was a little bitch, the medal back, and then Doc didn't give it back, but instead hit him in the head with it. Okay. So I'm about to go off on a rant, but before I go off on the rant, we're just going to play the next bit of audio with Bill Watts and the medal and Terry Taylor and go from there.
We agree with the fans in that if you won something in the ring, that's where you should have to lose it. And we're certainly not going to condone somebody that tries to gain notoriety or fame by stealing what doesn't rightfully belong to him. And I'm a little bit disappointed in Doc because when he won all his All-American honors at the University of Oklahoma, he won it on the playing field in football and on the mats in NCAA wrestling. And I'm sure that he would have been just as disappointed had somebody stolen one of those awards. So, Terry, here's the TV title back that you so aptly won in the ring.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. It's been a long, long time coming, and I'm just glad. The quest for this gold medal, I don't know, it's taken me a long, long way down a long road. I want to thank all the fans for your support, and I just hope I can defend this title the way that they would want me to.
Well, we'll be back with more action after these words from our Mid-South sponsors.
Okay.
So we have joked on this show for like the last month or 6 weeks that Terry Taylor is a little bitch. It's just a running gag. Well, okay, yeah, and he's a stooge, but specifically, we've been saying Terry Taylor is a little bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-South has officially booked Terry Taylor to be a little bitch. He could not be a man and go get his title back. He had to have Business Daddy go get the medal back from Dr. Death and give it to him because Terry Taylor is not enough of a man to go and get it back himself. And the thing is, like, it would be one thing, like, I'd even say, okay, Terry Taylor tried and, he just got out wrestled and out fought by a better man. Even then that would be bad, but still, at least he would have tried to get his medal back. Terry Taylor never tried to get his medal back.
Hey. You know who did try to get his medal back and did just get out wrestled by Doc? Fucking Crusher Khrushchev.
Yeah. Crusher Khrushchev, yeah, he failed, but he's a bigger inspiration to the kids out there than Terry Taylor is, and Terry Taylor's the baby face.
Exactly, yeah.
If I'm a child here in 1984, and like, who do you want me looking up to? Crusher Khrushchev, a man who tried and failed at getting his medal, or Terry Taylor, who does modeling videos?
Probably not.
Especially in 1984, metrosexuality was not a thing.
No, back then you were just gay.
Yes.
If you did like any kind of effort in like your personal grooming, you were gay.
Yes. And any thoughts on Terry Taylor, who was a little bitch, getting his medal back?
I just like this was dumb, and I didn't like it.
I, I mean that's about as succinct as you can go there. It was like no doubt about that. And Terry Taylor, like I can't believe Bill Dundee booked Terry Taylor to look that poorly. Like, I'm starting to think like Dusty Rhodes is in charge of booking Terry Taylor in this territory. Although we're still, I guess, at least a year away from Terry Taylor pissing Dusty off. So maybe we're jumping the gun on that one anyway. Um,
Yeah.
all right, so up next is our first match, Hercules Hernandez versus Rocky Smith. And of course, if we have Hercules, we have Jim Cornette. And if we have Jim Cornette, we're going to have some audio here of Jim Cornette's intro.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. On my left in the blue corner, 210 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Rocky Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're all familiar with my bodyguard, the man I hired because of all the loonies running around here, but I want to make one comment. I agree with Mid-South Wrestling for once. They have levied a $10,000 fine for anybody that uses a 2x4, just like Hacksaw Duggan does. They've levied a $10,000 fine for anybody that uses a chain, like the Junkyard Dog does. They've levied a $10,000 fine for anybody that uses a metal chair, like Sonny King does. Now, of course, they did agree to also levy a suspension on me if I use my racket, which I don't agree with because how could a little tennis racket hurt somebody? But I've agreed to go along with it in the interest of fair play. I assure you I agree with Mid-South 100%. We must have fair play. And as a matter of fact, in a related incident, I will be doing commentary on this match to give you an unbiased opinion on this man right here, my bodyguard, 268 pounds of unleashed fury, Hercules Hernandez.
So corny. I had to laugh. Who's going to get hurt off of a little tennis racket? And I guess in comparison to a chain, a 2x4, and metal folding chair, corny's got a point there. Because remember, this is not a loaded tennis racket situation. They've never insinuated it was loaded. It's just a regular tennis racket. Like, okay, it's going to sting a little bit, but it's not going to hurt to the same degree, those other big, heavy metal objects are.
If this character, this Rich Mama's Boy character came along today, I feel like it'd be a pickleball, whatever, paddle, bat, whatever they use for.
I was say bat, but is it really a bat? Yeah, I don't know how you would explain it.
I had an idea one time for like a character for like if I was like a manager or something. I always liked the name. You ever heard the name of that old women's wrestler, Elvira Snodgrass?
No.
Okay, well, they 40s, 50s women's wrestler, and I just thought like I don't know something like Emmett Snodgrass or something like that, but then I realized that I was basically just like a fat Jim Cornette.
Did you say that on Twitter or social media recently? Because I just saw somebody talking about. Yeah.
I may have.
Anyway, so Cornette went and kicked Big Head's kid out of the commentary position and spent the whole match talking about the origins of the Shinnomaki. And Hercules then won with the aforementioned Shinnomaki. I actually thought the way he was describing, because he was talking about how it came from Mongolia. I'm like, okay, he's going to come up with a American name for this move. And I'm like, waiting for it. It's like, nope. We just go with Shinnomaki. Hercules wins. No one. What do you think is more likely? That the people of the Smoky Mountain region can say Shinnomaki, or that I can one day learn how to spell Shinnomaki?
It's actually really easy to spell, so I would think that was a lot likely. But yeah, Shinnomaki is Japanese and not Mongolian.
Well, you see, it's especially in 1984. Anything that's even in that general geographical location is all exactly the same.
By the way, I have to note here, Rocky Smith's Jerry curl was magnificent.
Yes. And I think I said Rocky King at the beginning of the match. It's Rocky Smith. Now, I got no idea who the hell Rocky Smith is, but he has a tremendous Jerry curl.
He sure does.
Yes. And all right. So let's now go to JR, who has a discussion about the rules and regulations of wrestling, and that's going to lead to Bill Watts talking for about 20 or 25 minutes. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, just as in any sport, there has to be rules and regulations that people have to abide by, and Mid-South makes every effort to maintain these rules. We have so many tremendously extroverted and aggressive athletes that sometimes it's virtually impossible to do. And when they ask for special matches with special stipulations, and they sign those matches, both parties agree to suffer the consequences as they were. Well, in relationship to these tremendous rule breaks, these tremendous things that have happened right here on television, Cowboy Bill Watts has made a special statement, and he's also had a very special interview with Sonny King. Let's see that now.
You know, Sonny, in the 1960s when I got into wrestling, it seems like wrestling was outgrowing the rules and regulations. And, you know, the other night I was watching the Olympics, and a guy said gymnastics, that the sport of gymnastics has outgrown the way of scoring, that the way of scoring is antiquated. When I got in wrestling in the 1960s, if two guys got in a fight that broke the rules, they brought it back in a no disqualification match and they settled the issue. And wrestling promoters and associations have tried to enforce rules and regulations, but it seems like the wrestlers have always wanted to leave the scope of what the rules and regulations were in order to settle the issue, to make it more exciting, to make it a bigger gamble, or to finally injure somebody and put them out of business. They've always sought for that final match that would settle the issue. In the 1960s, there came the Texas Death Match. Falls don't count, no disqualification, 30 seconds between falls, goes to one man couldn't answer the bell. Then in 1970, there was a Brass Knucks Championship declared with Sputnik Monroe, and a vivid and colorful history. In 1973, with Dusty Rhodes, we developed a bunkhouse match. Come as dressed as you are, your cowboy boots, your buckles, whatever. Then in 1974, Dusty Rhodes made history with a bull rope match. Two guys tied together with a bull riding rope. Then in 1976, I guess I got a lot of national publicity for walking tall against Abdullah the Butcher in Atlanta, Georgia. 1979, the JYD developed the dog collar match. First time ever against Bob Sweetan. In 1982, in the Superdome, a ghetto street fight, Junkyard Dog and Reed. Then in 1983, Hacksaw Duggan came up with the coal miner's glove match. All these different matches increase the specter of violence, increase the danger of risk, but it's all based upon one guy wanting to get rid of the other guy and not have any rules and regulations. Then 3 weeks ago, I guess the straw that broke the camel's back, as you went in the ring after Duggan brought a 2x4 in, and it got taken away from him, and you're the guy that got injured. Let's look at that.
All right. Thank you to Nick Goulis there for previewing this interview here with fucking Sonny King. Believe it or not, Sonny King really is on the set there with Bill Watts. Just Bill decided to hog up most of the interview time.
Yeah, okay. I'm so. I'll say what I have to say after we are we going to listen to the Sonny King part? I guess we must.
We are, yes. And actually, that'll make me wish that Bill Watts kept talking. So, according to JR, extroverted and aggressive athletes. Do you remember when they started doing NXT, the original reality show NXT, and they had ECW Tiffany, Taryn Terrell, like describing NXT on the last ECW show? Extroverted and aggressive athletes sounds like something they would have had Tiffany say.
Yeah, that is the kind of shit that they had her say.
Now, tell me, what do you think would be a better title for this week's show? Extroverted and aggressive athletes, or no introverts allowed?
I think extroverted and aggressive athletes is pretty good.
Okay. So for those who are curious how we come up with the show titles, that's how we come up with the show titles. All right. So after Bill Watts stopped talking, we eventually watched the Sonny King angle again, which once again, they are like we've seen worse angles on this show, but they are really fucking playing up this. I got hit with a board in the shoulder, and so the whole world must stop now angle.
Yeah, I
It's
have
like
a suspicion, but we'll talk about it after.
it's like they had an idea that they wanted to make the rules to make this new $10,000 fine thing going on, and they're like, okay, we need to do some sort of major angle to set it up, and like that's when they brought in Sonny King and decided to do this, because it's like Sonny King is not here for the long run. I think we've discussed this. I think he leaves next month. Like he is not the JYD's replacement as the black babyface.
I do not think that Sonny King came into the territory to do this angle. I think he just came in to work some shots kind of between territories because he's from Louisiana. And I am now guessing that he actually did fuck up his shoulder and then they did that stupid angle to cover it.
Possibly. But I'll tell you what. Well, we'll just play the audio here. Let's go back to Bill and Sonny, and then I'll tell you why Arya is sometimes a dumbass.
And there, Sonny King, you did what is probably the most noble sacrifice of all. You sacrificed for your brother. Even though he brought the 2-before in the ring, and definitely Hernandez was trying to injure him, he vented his anger on you, and you've been on the shelf for 3 weeks.
That's right, Bill. You know what's been going on around here, and you know how things are set up. And I know what goes on in those guys' dressing room. I'm one of the guys that have been there before, and I know exactly what their thoughts are and what they're trying to do, Bill. And I know. See, professional wrestling, everybody asks you, is what you do on TV, is it real? People, I'm sitting here with a dislocated shoulder. I want to tell you that it's 3 weeks of my living is down the drain. This is for real. Bill, I realized what was going on, but I thought at the moment it was the proper thing to do. And I want to say to you that I like Hacksaw Duggan. I don't blame him for what he was trying to do. And it's become, like you said, it become a time when the wrestlers, just like the fan, they feel like we got to get rid of these people. So how do you go by doing it? And they just get, and these are the ideas to get.
Well, I want to say one thing. It seems like with the dog, it's the chain. With me, it was a 2-before. With Duggan, it's a 2-before.
Yeah.
It seems like Cornette and some of these guys do have valid reasoning, but whatever. We can't stop it all. Mid-South knows that. But we are going to make it a $10,000 fine for anybody that brings a 2-before, a steel chair, a chain, or a tennis racket, Jim Cornette, to the ring and hit somebody with the object, unless it's one of these matches that we have no control over, that are outside the rules and regulation. If somebody brings, it's going to be a $10,000 fine, or they're going to leave Mid-South. And that's just, we can't stop everything, but we got to try to stop it before somebody is critically injured or permanently injured. And of course, what is the status of your injury? When do you think you'll be back?
Well, Bill, I'm not going to say. It's a secret between myself and my doctor. Every night, I'm going to honor my contracts. I'm going to show up to all the arenas, and I'm going to be there. Only me and my docs know when I'm ready. But, Bill, I would tell you this, like I've said before. I will be there, and when the opportunity come up, I will take advantage of it. And I guarantee you, for all of the tickets that the people have bought, my name was on a contract, and I didn't get in and give you a match. I will honor all of those contracts. I'm going to wrestle each one of these people that I was supposed to wrestle, and I'm also going to give you the big surprise of your lifetime because, Bill, I've been down before. People all over the country read about it. I survived it. I came back. I told my kid when he came to intensive care and looked down in my face and I started crying. He says, Daddy, are you going to ever be able to wrestle again? And I said to my kid, he's now 10 years old, I says, Larry, Daddy, get back up and make you proud of him. And Bill, when you do that for your kid, you got something to live for.
We'll be back after these words from Jim Ross and Joel Watts.
Did he say his child's name was Larry?
I think so.
So his child is Larry King?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we all just accept that
Did you ever see that movie? I think it came out like 2001-ish, Road Trip.
Yes.
You remember Tom Green played a character named Barry, and then the other characters go to stay with Barry's grandparents, and they see that the last name is Manilow.
I do remember that. Yes.
That was a great movie.
Honestly, and this is because I was a huge Michelle Trachtenberg fan, I preferred Eurotrip.
I never saw that one. I don't think I should watch that.
It's funny. I'll say that it is funny. So Sonny King was allowed to talk, and we found out why he's not allowed to talk. Um, I wrote, can Bill cut him off and talk for another 10 minutes?
Um, at first, I was appalled at the idea that Sonny King, despite not being cleared to wrestle, was going to come to his bookings anyway. But then I thought about it, and I think I would be more likely to buy a ticket if I was assured that Sonny King would not be wrestling.
Big Head reiterated the $10,000 fine, or said if they don't pay, they'll have to leave Mid-South. Um, Now here's the thing. Like, I'll be honest, I've never had a separated shoulder, so it never occurred to me how long it might take someone to come back from a separated shoulder. Well, much like most other injuries, there are degrees of a separated shoulder injury, and you could be back in as little as 2 weeks. So we'll say it is possible that if he really was injured, that he might have really been injured, because he does come back very quickly. Like, I think he's back in 2 weeks. Spoiler alert.
I mean,
Um,
well, last year, 2024, Yo separated his shoulder and was out for like months. So, yeah.
so Yo didn't separate his shoulder in 1983.
No, I don't think he was born in 1983. I wasn't born in
I was
1983.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Yo is much younger than I am.
Yeah.
Even though Yo and I had the same number of points in this year's G1. Um, just saying. Um, anywho, Sonny is like, it'll be a secret when I come back. I'm like, dude, you are not that important to be doing the "it's a secret" gimmick. But yeah, I I don't really know here. It's Sonny King, and it's like he's at the end of his career. That's all we'll say. He's at the end of his career, and I don't say enjoy him for the next 6 weeks or so, but we'll tolerate him for the next 6 weeks or so.
You know what?
All right.
I don't hate Sonny. I just don't enjoy watching him wrestle very much.
No, not at all. So up next, we had the first ever coffee chain to compete in a pro wrestling match. And Trey suddenly understood my reference. It was Big Bad Bob Owens and Tim Hortons versus the Fantastics.
I'm just glad that Tim Horton landed on his feet with that Canadian coffee shop after his wrestling career didn't work out.
There you go. Now, here's a question: did you ever watch Community?
I watched an episode or two. I didn't really get into it.
Okay, well, there was a character named Rick who who sold his identity first to Subway in a bit of guerrilla marketing, to the fact that he changed his name to Subway. And he was a character on an episode of Community, and then came back in season 6 to do guerrilla marketing for Honda. And so that's what I was thinking here. Maybe Tim Hortons here had a different name, and he sold his name and identity to Tim Horton.
I always thought that Hyundai, the Japanese automobile manufacturer, I always thought that they should sponsor Sonata. Hyundai Sonata.
By the way, Tim Hortons, the coffee chain, has been around since 1964. So,
well, that's good, because Tim Horton wasn't a very good wrestler.
Probably no, he's a very good coffee maker.
He wasn't Ed Siegel, but his footwork was very awkward.
Yes. So Rogers exploded off the second rope to pin Tim Hortons.
Joel wished Kerry Von Erich well in his effort to regain the NWA World Heavyweight title from Ric Flair, and I didn't understand why that came up until JR explained it in the next match.
Now, here's the thing, though. This is where I wrote, wasn't Ric Flair supposed to wrestle on this show?
Look, you should know that if they say somebody's going to be here next week, it's going to be at least 3 weeks before we see him.
I'm happy we finally got that match with the popular little girl wrestlers.
Oh, the little midget girl wrestlers?
Yes. That only took like 6 months. Apparently, Ric Flair is going to wrestle Kerry Von Erich here on Mid-South Wrestling next week.
Wow.
Which,
I wonder if that actually happens.
I mean, well, this is the first half of a TV taping, so I'd like to believe that they already know what's going to happen on the second week's TV taping, which is going to be taped in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like. Is it gonna be a match in the Irish Rodeo Boys Club, or is there gonna be a tape from fucking, I don't know, Houston or New Orleans or Tulsa
I'll be honest, I didn't look up the results. I kind of assumed it was gonna be at the Irish Rodeo Boys Club. Keep in mind, I also thought the Ted DiBiase Brad Armstrong match from like 3 months ago was gonna be here too. So I guess I have whatchamacallit, I have more faith that they're going to do matches at the Irish Rodeo Boys Club than you are, I guess.
I think the only time that they did a world title match in the Irish Rodeo Boys Club was the one with Flair and DiBiase in, what?
85.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's still to come. Spoiler alert for 39-year-old wrestling.
Yeah.
So then we get, to quote Boyd Pierce, former University of Oklahoma football star and now top-ranked pro wrestling star Steve Dr. Death Williams versus, in this corner, Rick McCord. Rick McCord got such a nothing introduction that he side-eyed the camera.
Rick McCord got over with me this week.
Rick McCord tried to get inducted into the Something Else Hall of Something Else this week.
Man, he was fucking perfect. He was the perfect piece of shit jobber in this match. He moved well. He hit his spots perfect. And then he had 2 offensive moves the whole match. A pair of drop kicks. The first one whiffed and the second one missed completely. This was perfect. And 10 out of 10 no notes.
They were offensive. Now, did you notice what Joel said Dr. Death did with the Oklahoma Stampede?
No, what did he say?
It was either him or JR, but it feels more of a Joel thing. He said that Doc gave him the Oklahoma Stampede almost through the 2x4s under the mat. So does that mean Dr. Death now gets a $10,000 fine?
No, you are not allowed to hit a wrestler with a 2x4. You are allowed to hit 2x4s with a wrestler. By the way,
okay.
I told Rick McCord that we'd give him a ride to Dallas.
Sounds good. I mean, it's what I think we saw it's like a 215-mile trip.
Yeah,
it's like,
he's good company, I'm sure.
Is he gonna pay some transit? He's gonna pay us like a dime a mile or whatever.
Oh, it's standard rate,
Okay, good. I just sent you the Rick McCord photo that's going to be put on this week's episode.
Okay.
So while Trey looks at that, we are going to go to Jim Cornette's intro for the following match, which is the tag team title no disqualification match, the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette and Hercules versus the Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
This event for the Mid-South Tag Team.
Boy, do you look like an explosion in a fireworks plant. Ladies and gentlemen, you are privileged tonight, beyond all other nights, to see the greatest Mid-South Tag Team Championship match that you will ever see in your entire life. And wait, just hold this for me just a second. Boyd, I got something I got to do.
Wrestling fans, this is one fall. Our television time remaining. Mid-South Tag Team Championship is on the line. There's no disqualification. Now, if Jim Cornette will come back.
Okay, I just had a couple of things I had to take care of. My bodyguard, Hercules Hernandez, I trust him completely. Any investment, any purchase that my mother and I want to make, any cash that we have to be handled, I trust him fully to do it. I don't even need my bodyguard at ringside tonight because Hacksaw Duggan's going to be in this match, and he's the reason I have to have one in the first place. But I will introduce to you the most awesome combination in wrestling, the #1 cause of divorce in America today, Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight Express.
So once again, Boyd Pierce out fucking standing. Boyd
So
Pierce,
good.
it's like he's standing there introducing the match, and you just see Jim Cornette's arm reach in, take the microphone, and you can hear Boyd's voice fading into the background because he just keeps talking while Cornette's taking the microphone. And
I said it last.
so,
I said it last week, and I'm probably going to say it every week now. The only thing better than watching a Jim Cornette promo is watching Boyd Pierce watch a Jim Cornette promo.
Oh my God. And I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If looks could kill, Stephen P. New would need a new podcast sponsor. Oh, Lord. Like, I wish Boyd Pierce was still with us, because Jesus Christ.
Oh, he was wonderful. Oh, Bill.
Yes. Oh, Lord. So the Midnight Express are the #1 cause of divorce in the United States. And I'll be honest, especially when we get Stan in, I tend to believe that. In fact, I believe that on standard divorce forms from 1983 till 1990, that is one of the boxes you can check off. You know, wife had affair with the Midnight Express.
Yeah. That's that might be the one area that Stan edges out Dennis.
That's like also it's like Dennis Condrey being a ladies' man. It's like when you hear about the horseman lifestyle and you think about Ole Anderson, like I don't picture Ole Anderson being a womanizer, and I don't picture Dennis Condrey beating off the ladies back at the hotel room. But
Okay,
you
look,
know.
I'm not attracted to men, but like Dennis Condrey is that like ruggedly attractive. Like I totally see the appeal of a Dennis Condrey.
Could you see the appeal of an Ole Anderson?
No. By the way, look, Cornette has said that right before they moved to Louisiana to start this run, that Dennis actually bought a van from Stan Lane, and it was going to say if that van could talk, I could have had something to entertain me on those road trips.
It may have been the Von Erich's van.
Well, it may have been the Freebirds van.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's who I meant. God damn it. I fucked up. Did you notice? Okay, I'm not asking this to be a dick. I'm just asking this legitimately. Did you notice they had new tag team title belts?
I did not. I noticed that Dennis and Bobby both had shiny new gear, but they still don't. It's funny. Bobby and Stan always kind of matched. Bobby and Stan always matched. Bobby and Dennis, I don't think ever matched unless it was by accident.
Yeah. So we get informed that Junkyard Dog doesn't have the chain due to the recent furor. I gotta say, Joel, that's not a nice thing to call your dad. The recent furor. I didn't pop Trey. God damn it. Oh, I did. Okay,
I'm sorry. I was actively laughing. I was like, was it the furor or was it the furor or was it mein Führer?
Well, he said the recent furor.
I mean, because we know how much Bill Watts hates communism. So
Yes. Although Nazism and communism are two different things.
Fascism was in partly a reaction to the rising tide of socialism in the post World War I, pre World War II era.
Hey, do we have to get that guy from the dark web on here to talk about the far right?
Jay. I can't, his last name starts with A. Very funny Canadian actor.
So I'll be honest, what I thought the finish was going to be here, because they earlier in the show, we've heard it a few times. They talked about that they banned the tennis racket 2x4 chain and chairs, except in matches where Mid-South can't control it. And I'm like, okay, this is a no disqualification match. So obviously what's going to happen here is somebody's going to run in with a chain, a tennis racket, a chair, or a 2x4 because it's not a match that Mid-South can control. Turns out the answer was none of the above.
Arya.
What?
Okay, I liked this match a lot. Like for the most part, like the action was very good. But why the fuck do we need distractions and ref bumps in an ODQ match?
Who knows? Junkyard Dog hit a glove shoulder tackle. I say that because it apparently knocked the Junkyard Dog out and it required him to tag out. We had the four-way breakout. Dog hit the thumb, and then Jim Cornette threw powder near the Junkyard Dog's face. And it wasn't even that near the Junkyard Dog's face, but Dog, being the trooper he is, rolled into the powder to blind himself. And you would think, since Dog just 3 years ago or 4 years ago in this territory was blinded by Michael Hayes, the last thing he'd want to do is blind himself. But Dog's a trooper, ladies and gentlemen. He may be a trooper on his way out the door, but he's a trooper.
Dog saw Ready to Rumble and knows that that stuff doesn't work.
The ref got bumped. Duggan used an atomic drop. Corny went for an elbow. Duggan moved, and then 5 minutes later, Cornette dropped the elbow. Hercules ran down with Crusher Khrushchev's coal miner's glove to KO Jim Duggan to get the win. So yes, we didn't mention this during the Jim Cornette intro. The distraction, the quietness of Cornette was because Crusher Khrushchev showed up, and Cornette gave him and Hercules some money to walk to the back. And so that's what happened here, is that Hercules bought the coal miner's glove.
I like that as a finish. There's a lot of I don't know, I's not being crossed and T's not being dotted lately on this show. But as far as just the idea for the finish, that was very good.
Yes, indeed. So the Midnight Express defeated Junkyard Dog and Jim Duggan. I would chalk that up as a little bit of an upset, wouldn't you?
A little bit. Well, if you think about it from the terms of, you're right. But if you think about it in certain terms, it is the top tag team beating two single stars in a tag team match. So it's kind of the way it should be.
I was going to say, it is, and I know that this was a prior booker, but Mid-South's tag team division has always been suspect, that it's always been two singles wrestlers as tag team champions until, recently, pretty much until Dundee came in. And this is going back to Junkyard Dog and Mike George were the tag team champions for a while. So it's I don't think we're at this point yet where to the Mid-South fan, it would have surprised them if two singles wrestlers won the tag titles. It would surprise us because, A, Dog is out the territory in 2 weeks, and B, we're trying to establish a proper tag team division at this point with one heel team and 4 babyface tag teams.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, hey, it's hard to put the tag team titles on a babyface team when you have no other heels to feud with. So, all right. So up next, we were scheduled to have Tony Torres versus Hans Schroeder. But instead, someone out there decided that listening to Jim Cornette for the third time was more important than Tony Torres versus Hans Schroeder. And Trey, I hope you're sitting down, but I think they'd be correct.
Yeah, I'm on board.
All right, let's go to JR with JC.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at ringside. Mr. Cornette has a statement About the rules. You're a fine one to talk about the rules.
About the rules, exactly right. Listen to my voice. He's already damaged my vocal cords. Let me tell you something. True or false, am I telling a lie? Hacksaw Duggan and Junkyard Dog were the ones that asked for no disqualification, right?
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right, because they wanted to declare open season on me. They wanted to get me. We wanted to wrestle with honor, defend our belts by the rules, be a credit to the sport of wrestling in the Mid-South Territory, but they demanded no disqualification, so that means that they got what they deserved. There's a $10,000 fine for the boards, the chairs, the chains. Nobody said anything about a glove, did they, Jim Ross? Nobody said anything about a glove.
Say no.
Nobody said anything. Next, they're going to tell us what brand of underwear we can wear to the ring. The whole thing's nonsense in the first place, but nobody said anything about a glove. They demanded it, so they got what's coming to them, because let me tell you one thing above all else. Anybody who tries to outsmart Jim Cornette is going to have the tables turned on him in a fitting manner. I can guarantee you that right now.
Well, that's Mr. Cornette's version of his interpretation of the rules, and we'll be back with a great tag team match right after this.
So this is would be a fine time to remind everyone that Mid-South Wrestling is sponsored by MeUndies. MeUndies, the undies worn by everybody in Mid-South Wrestling. I had to laugh here. You know, we had to have Jim Cornette go over the rules and regulations of World Class, Jesus Christ, of Mid-South. Maybe you should also go over the regulations of World Class. That might make things more interesting. But Hercules, as always, did the thing that he's most equipped to do, and that was stand there and pose. And now he had a glove to play with, too. So, you know, Hercules can now stand out there for longer than a 30-second promo.
Hey, his posing game is on point.
Now, I do have to laugh because this promo replaced the previously scheduled Tony Torres versus Hans Schroeder match. And then we went to commercial, and we came back to commercial with a completely different match that did not include Tony Torres or Hans Schroeder. Meaning that in Mid-South parlance, Tony Torres versus Hans Schroeder had a 68-second time limit.
No, it doesn't. But let's move on.
Well, if not, then why didn't they come out for their match next? They were scheduled
because they
before. I gotta say, you get upset about the weirdest things on this show. Anyway,
I
so
get
let's
upset when you go down an illogical rabbit hole just to fuck with me.
How is this an illogical rabbit hole?
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. The fact that the promo was 68 seconds doesn't mean that the time limit of the match would have been 68 seconds.
Fine. Then why did Tony Torres and Hans Schroeder come out for their match?
Because fuck
After
Tony
the
Torres
promo.
and Hans Schroeder.
Wow, what did Tony Torres and Hans Schroeder ever do to you?
They weren't a Jim Cornette promo.
They were definitely not Jim Cornette promo, although has anyone ever tried to interview Tony Torres and Hans Schroeder?
I don't think so.
Maybe we're onto something. Maybe we should try to hunt down Tony Torres and Hans Schroeder, invite them onto the podcast, and see if they can cut a 68-second promo.
I wonder if either of them is still alive.
I don't know. All right, so since Tony Torres and Hans Schroeder aren't important, let's go to Buddy Landel and Crusher Khrushchev versus the PYTs in the standby match, meaning that if this was the standby match, it was in fact less important than Tony Torres versus Hans Schroeder. Now, we did get informed that if they do go to the roughly 3-minute time limit, that they're going to try to run this match back again next week. And
I'll believe it when I
we
see
do
it.
get told that next week we're going to have a public workout with Magam Ta, Terry Taylor, and Tommy Rogers, which listeners, the long-term listeners of the show, I guarantee it will not be as fun and interesting as when Paul Ellering was doing weekly workouts with children, which is both a great thing and a bad thing. Because if you remember those fucking things, oh my God. And I'm just thinking about this now. There was one Paul Ellering, workout thing where he was doing pull-ups and had a child hanging off of him, but the child slipped and was face to eye level with Paul Ellering's crotch.
That's outstanding.
Yes. Oh my God. Like, Paul Ellering in Mid-South, that's all I'm going to say. Like, people need to go back. If you weren't here and listening at the time, you need to go back. Paul Ellering's promos, like, he was a Superstar Billy Graham ripoff, and it was tremendous. The land
I
of the
saw some of
free
that.
and the home of the foot-long hot dog racer. Ha, 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 ha. And
he was also very good in Memphis in like 81.
all right, so these four men wrestled like four people who had 3 minutes to have their match, and the match went to the 3-minute time limit draw. And here's Trae to tell us how long the match really went, because I'm just guesstimating 3 minutes.
2 minutes and 56 seconds. But yeah,
hey, it was pretty damn close.
Did you notice they didn't bother to sweep the powder out of the ring?
They rarely do. Like, you know?
But yeah, Budrow was busting ass out there. Khrushchev, I think, was in the match for a total of about 10 seconds. But yeah, I guess Buddy just felt like working a little bit that day because this was a very entertaining 3 minutes.
I was like, Khrushchev has put in his notice. He is out the territory at the end of the month. He don't give a fuck at this point.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Buddy just decided that he was going to wrestle the match.
So not again one of those not the greatest episodes of Mid-South ever, but I'd still say it was a good episode.
Last week.
Yeah. Then we get to World Class, which, oh, by the way, what the hell has happened to Ernie Ladd? He hasn't been on the fucking show in like 3 weeks.
Gotta go find some bums.
There you go. He's tired of wrestling the bums. Yeah. He said it. He's not a bum seeker. All right.
He's got to exterminate all the bums.
So I got some good news for everybody. Rick McCord, Trae, and I successfully made it to Dallas. And so let's go a state over to World Class Championship Wrestling. Let's go to the intro with casual Bill Mercer.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling from the Sportatorium, the world-famed Sportatorium in downtown Dallas, Texas. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Mercer. We've got a tremendous main event. It features Mike Von Erich and gentleman Chris Adams against Michael Hayes and his partner Buddy Roberts. Also, Kevin Von Erich meets Killer Khan. And our first report on World Class Championship Wrestling is an update on Akbar's acquisition of Killer Khan. Next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Okay. Honestly, I would have skipped this intro because there's a lot of audio to play here, except for the fact that Bill Mercer is not wearing his suit jacket. Bill Mercer is not wearing his tie. He's wearing a partially unbuttoned short sleeve shirt. And it made me think about Mick Foley talking about the Sportatorium had no AC in the summer and no heat in the winter. And I'm like, how fucking hot do you think this arena is today?
So that appeared to be a very comfortable seersucker button-up shirt, and Southerners know seersucker is nice material if you got to be in Texas in the summer.
Do you have a lot of seersucker suits yourself and shirts?
I have a couple of shirts. I would like to I would like to get more. I actually am looking. I want to get a seersucker blanket because I sleep hot, so I don't want like big covers in the summer.
All right. Well, remember for a couple of weeks we were talking about how General Skandor Akbar was trying to get a partner for Max. Well, he apparently has found Max's partner, and it is the aforementioned Killer Khan. So we were going to get a report on all this here. Let's go to the first part of this report. And if you think this whole first 12 minutes of this show is long, you've not seen the rest of this fucking show. But let's go to the beginning of the report here.
Killer Khan is now a member of Devastation Incorporated. It all started with the missing link at a bout featuring Mr. X against Kerry and Kevin Von Erich, and this is what happened.
And you know, as you can see, the mysterious Mr. X is none other than the Orient Killer himself, Killer Khan. And I'm amazed at the stupidity of the Freebirds. This big goof, Terry Gordy, this half-wit, he goes to the Orient and he gets a diamond in the rough, like you Americans like to say. But he doesn't know what to do with it. It slips through your hands just like quicksilver. And along came the general, the mastermind, and the deal has been made. But can you imagine the Freebirds and the stupidity of letting a man with the talents of Killer Khan slip through their fingers? Can you imagine? Well,
let me tell you something, pig face. I don't care nothing about what he does. What he does is his personal business. We've never claimed to own him. But you ain't going to come out here and run down my brother when he's not around. Now, I don't care. You take back what you said right now, or I'm going to deck you right here.
who do you think you are? Who do you think you are coming out here telling me what to do? You understand? I think you'd better look around the ring before you start shooting your big mouth off, Hayes. You understand? Or maybe you don't. But I suggest you look around this squared circle right now.
All right. So why is it Americans always have such a big fucking mouth and are always getting themselves into trouble? You know, Michael Hayes did not come out here to have a, intelligent discussion with Akbar about the finer points of the contracted deal that led to Killer Khan joining up with Ak. Nope. He came out and threatened Ak with violence when he was already outnumbered 2-on-1.
I can't believe the guy who carries the Confederate flag around everywhere would be so foolish at choosing when to engage.
Yeah. And turns out, I guess Killer Khan's new name might as well be Mr. X, because he came out when Max was teaming with Mr. X.
No, that's like in New Japan. That's like in New Japan when it's X, but that's just a placeholder.
Well, see, World Class is more polite than that. It's Mr. X.
Well, yeah, Texans are very polite.
Although I guess that could mean that by New Japan not including a Mr. X, they could be implying that it could be a mixed match of some sort.
Wasn't the Destroyer Dr. X in the AWA?
Yes, and I think his medical degree ended up being quite suspect.
Maybe it wasn't a medical degree. Maybe he had a doctorate in philosophy. Did you ever think of that?
I'm sorry, his doctorate was suspect.
He could have had a doctorate in feminist studies. You don't know.
He can still be a suspect doctorate. Maybe the AWA went and researched, his background, and it was the 60s and 70s, so it took a lot longer than today. Like if I tried to claim that I had a doctorate, on an application, the job could figure that out in about 12 seconds. That I don't. Anywho,
Squirrely Dan should have a doctorate in women's studies by now. He usually going to Professor Trish's classes a long time.
Poor Squirrely Dan. Poor Katie too. Katie just having a rough go of it.
That's what I appreciate about her.
Yep. Actually, let me put that here as something to talk about later. Well, yes, I've actually got it. I've got a list going of things to talk about after World Class.
Okay.
Yes. So after that promo there by Hayes and Ak, we had a fight. Khan went to thumb Hayes, but Hayes managed to run away. And this then led to Kevin and Kerry Von Erich versus the new team of Maximum Overcon. Los Freebirdos ran in to attack Kerry and Kevin for the disqualification, and then attacked Maximum Overcon. a very tall man with an afro was standing near drunk Mark Lawrence with his back to the camera, and they never showed who it was. And I was thinking, is that Ernie Ladd? But I guess it may have been, it may not have been, but we never saw whoever the hell it was.
Ernie Ladd was there looking for Johnny Mantel and Kelly Kiniski.
Oh, please don't say that, even though you could argue that that's what he was doing. So anyway, we then go to a sit-down promo with Ack, and I think the guys in production were pretty bored because they spend most of this next 90 seconds slowly zooming in on Ack, and then before we got to look at his eyeball, they zoomed back out. But let's go to this promo with the General.
Just as I said, I would shock the wrestling world, more so the Freebirds than anybody else. Let me put it to you in layman's language. While Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy were out honky-tonking, I was out making the biggest deal in professional wrestling history. Killer Khan, and I understand the universal language, which is money. Amazing as it may seem, Terry Gordy, being the half-wit that he is, had the most formidable weapon in all of professional wrestling within his grasp, the Oriental Spike. We all know that Killer Khan is the innovator of the Spike. But I assure you now, people, from here on, that Devastation Incorporated will utilize the Spike to its fullest advantage. And one more thing, Hayes. When you put your hands on the man, you made the biggest mistake of your career. So I suggest, young man, that you quit worrying about recording sessions and get down to business, because you're going to need it. This should explain in full how it was done. It's the coup de grace of anything that the General has ever done in my illustrious career, and I am indeed proud. Can you imagine the missing link, tenacious as he is, coupled with Killer Khan and the Oriental Spike? Nobody can beat this team. Nobody.
I know, like, there's a lot of people who don't like Akbar, but I'll be honest, like, I'm a fan of General Akbar.
I got nothing against Akbar. He's very good at being General Skandar Akbar.
Yes. And I mean, I guess you could say he gets overused, like, a lot of times. Like, when he's on, he's really, really on these programs. And then, like, there's other times he just disappears for a month. It's like, where is General Skandar Akbar? And I'm just sad that we never got to find out more about his OPEC negotiations and how if King Kong Bundy loses his matches, that could reflect negatively in his negotiations with OPEC.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
That was a legitimate promo that we had on the show.
I believe you.
Oh my God. That was why I had to keep watching World Class, because it was the beginning when I started watching it, because there was like 1 week on Mid-South where there was nothing to fucking talk about, and I'd gotten the damn show over in 15 minutes, and I'm like, let me see what else is on. And yeah. All right. So yeah, the Freebirds were out honky-tonking, so Ack bought Killer Khan. So does this mean that General Skandar Akbar conducts his contract negotiations at 1 a.m?
Look,
like that might explain A, how he keeps signing people, and B, why he keeps overspending for people. Because we've talked about this before. That seems like every person he signed is the new highest priced talent in wrestling history. And it's like, so it's 1 a.m, so it's like they want to go to sleep, and Akbar wants to go to sleep, but it's like, well, we gotta have a whatchamacallit, we gotta have a negotiation and come to a conclusion here. So I'll give you way too much money so we can both go to bed. And I was like, deal.
Arya, clocks and money are just bourgeois propaganda.
Bourgeois propaganda. I gotta say, I'm liking that we've returned to normal Trae, and we're not talking about all of our other Traeisms from the last few weeks.
Hey, look, I'm sorry, that had to happen. That had to happen. I had to fix what was broken before I could start rebuilding. I had to fix the broken foundation before I could start rebuilding the building.
We will rebuild him bigger, stronger, faster.
There you go.
All right, and I swear to God, this is the last promo, at least the last promo we're going to play. We go to Michael Hayes in a van, and for their response to what's going on with Killer Khan and General Skandor Akbar.
Here with Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy to ask him about the latest developments in the Khan case. Michael, where's Terry?
Bam Bam's back there, and you better leave him alone, man. I'm trying to get him to chill out. He's too upset. I'm afraid he's going to come out here and say something that you can't put on the air.
Well, tell me now, did Akbar really outsmart you in getting the services of Khan?
That low-life, buffalo breath, block-headed idiot didn't outsmart anybody, man. I've stated from the beginning, Khan was Bam Bam's friend. Any friend of our brothers, mine and Buddy Jack's, makes them our friend. And all we did was try to befriend the guy. We tried to take him around, took him all around the country, rocking and rolling, and tried to show him a good time. We didn't have him under contract. We didn't tell the guy what to do. We just tried to be his friend, and he tried to ruin. We just signed a big record contract with David Wolf, who manages Cyndi Lauper, and he tried to put the spike on me. Mercer, you know what the spike can do.
I know.
He could have ruined everything, man.
Well, I know,
everything.
I know, but it
because
looks...
of you, Akbar. And I'm telling you what, maybe I did overstep going out there with your goons out there, but I don't care. Ain't nobody gonna run down my brother when he's not around, man.
Well, it certainly appeared that there wasn't very deep friendship for Khan because he took money from Akbar and then became a friend there.
Well, I guess that's his friends. You know, like I said, his main friend was Bam Bam, and that's what made him our friend.
Well, I want to talk to Terry. He's back here.
Not.
Well, Terry's his real friend. Terry, can you...
Hey, back up just a second. See, I told you.
Don't be putting your hands on this fan. This fan belongs to us. Nobody puts their hands on this fan but us. If I want to hit this fan, I'll hit it.
I understand.
You understand that? If I want to take a dip of snuff right here and spit it on the ground, I'll spit it on the ground. If I want to bring a friend of mine from Mongolia over here or Japan, anywhere, if I want to bring them right here to Texas, or if I want to bring them to Nashville, Tennessee, if I want to bring them to Boston, I'll bring them. You understand that?
I understand, but it looks like your friendship wasn't very deep.
Listen to here. Man, no friend of mine is going to mess with my brother. Do you understand that?
That's right. Talk to him.
Hey, and let me tell you this, man, especially 3-on-1, 3 of them trying to jump on my brother. Hey, man, why don't they come here now?
He is certainly up.
Now, see, I told you not to
What's the matter with them now? Where are they at now?
I don't really know
Here
right
we
now.
are.
Yeah, here we are. If they want to get it over the park tonight, we'll get it over.
He is upset.
I told you. Bam Bam, chill out. Now,
Don't be messing
Don't
with
cuss.
me.
Don't cuss.
Don't be putting your hand on my van.
All right.
All right, see, I told you, Mercer. Look, this thing ain't nowhere near over. Akbar, you have really done something that you're not going to be able to handle, brother, because you ain't got no idea what Bad Street is. Bam Bam, come on.
Are you going to try to get Khan back? Are you going to try
No,
to...
we don't want him back, man. Hey, look, Mercer. All we ever needed was ourselves. That's what the word Freebird's all about, man. And, Con, you're going to find out what it's like to walk down Bad Street.
Michael Hayes and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Obviously, Bam Bam is tremendously upset. We'll be back with more World Class Championship Wrestling in a moment.
I just realized something while watching that now. Who the hell was driving? Because Gordy
Buddy,
gets in the back. Well, why didn't Buddy come out to talk?
he was passed out in the driver's seat.
He woke up just in time to drive off at the end of the promo. Now, Gordy was in the back of the van. I think he was thumping his whip in the back there. So Hayes cut a promo for him. Gordy finished up thumping the whip. So he came out of the van and complained about being brought out of the van. And Gordy said he'll bring his friends to Dallas, to Nashville, and to Boston, whether or not Mercer approves. I mean, I guess World Class aired in Boston, and my guess is it probably aired in Nashville too. But, like, what two very random cities to mention bringing your friends to? Trey, you've never been up this way, right?
I have not been to New England. The furthest east that I have been would be like New York.
Okay. So as somebody who's lived in the South his whole life and has never been to Boston, is Boston a very glamorous city that, you would think, hey, I'm gonna brag to my friends that I could take them to Boston?
Okay, as a 19th century historian, I kind of I see Boston as having more Boston is having more of a upper class tinge than somebody who has lived for many years in the area might.
I mean, I love Boston. It is legitimately my favorite large city that I've ever been to, and I've been to quite a few of them. Um, but I don't know, maybe it's because I could go there tomorrow if I wanted to. It's not as big of a deal.
Yeah,
I guess
I really want to I really want to go and at least see, the Revolutionary War sites around Boston and stuff like that.
I would definitely recommend, a trip up here. Gordy at one point took his shirt off and threw an honest to goodness temper tantrum. He got on the ground and began pounding his fists and feet on the ground. And this is when you remember that Terry Gordy is in his very early 20s. So somehow that just is acceptable at that point. And then I wrote, remember when this show didn't have any promos on it?
Yeah. There was a lot of this show. World Class has been better in the last couple weeks.
The problem is, it's like, and they don't have bad matches, but it's like they don't have a lot of people in the territory, and so they don't book a lot of matches for the shows. So you get three matches that all have to get time because we gotta fucking fill up the hour. And so like we're getting 7 to 12 minute matches that in some cases don't need to be that long. And I think that's part of why Mid South is so much more interesting because even on a show where the booker don't give a fuck and we just got a match heavy show, we're not watching three matches that are, 12 minutes each. We'll end up getting like 6 4-minute matches or something like that. And it's like it feels like it flows better and like you're not bored watching the same thing forever and ever. Because I'll say it now, the main event, I was scrolling Reddit during the main event. Like I was just and it was and like I guarantee you I went back and watched it and actually paid attention to it. It was a good match. But it's like I was so fucking bored. I did not want to watch yet another version of the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. Even after last week when I praised that 6-man Bad Street type of match, it was still like, meh, whatever.
I actually got kind of into the main event, so I guess I could talk about it when we get to it.
There we go. So we got Scott Hall Irwin with Bill Irwin and General Skandor Akbar versus Rick Cord, who seems no happier when getting introduced on this show. And I sent Trey the screenshot I took of Rick McCord in both Mid-South and World Class this week. But like we said, we think Rick McCord is going for an induction.
He was good here too. I don't know. He just something. These two matches. I mean, he was working with Doc and he was working with Scott Irwin, which Doc is still the puppy with big paws, but he's starting to find himself. And Scott Irwin's just a good, reliable hand, and Rick McCord is very good. He is very good, at least as far as like bumping and feeding and selling. The leg trimmers to sell the superplex finish was tremendous.
I wrote he went into toxic shock.
Yes.
So did you hear what Mercer said?
Probably.
I screamed. I screamed because Bill Mercer informed us that the 6-man tag team titles, in his words, were being held in abeyance. Turns out abeyance is not a word that Vince McMahon invented. Nor it may have been on his word of the day toilet paper back in 2013, but it is not a word that Vince McMahon invented. Abeyance. He may have been watching his world-class tapes when he suddenly fell in love with that word.
Do you remember? I think it was like a pay-per-view where Edge and Kane wrestled to a double pin, and they wouldn't call it a draw; they declared it a tie.
I remember the finish. I don't remember that declaration.
I'm still mad
because
about
that led to the TLC match where the championship was the first person to gain custody of it.
Yeah, that was
the
that
double
was not
pin
a good
between.
feud.
No, it was an awful feud. I think it was the worst angle of the year in the Observer that year.
I think so. It was fucking dreadful.
Because that was the one where Edge kidnapped Paul Bearer and flew him around the world.
Yeah. Was that like the last storyline that Paul Bearer was a part of?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because then, do you remember his? This might have been his last appearance. Was in like a 2012 episode of Raw, and it may have been the arena because like the end of that angle was Edge had kidnapped Paul Bearer and had been fucking with Kane by like having mannequins dressed as Paul Bearer, and then Kane pushed Paul Bearer in a wheelchair off of like a giant thing of steps or something. It turned out to be Paul Bearer. But it may have been the same exact arena, but like 2 years later when Kane was shooting with Randy Orton, he randomly found Paul Bearer tied to a chair backstage and pushed him into a meat locker or something like that.
I do remember the meat locker.
And that was Paul Bearer's goodbye on national television.
You know what? Paul probably wouldn't have had it any other way. I do actually believe, because I think one of his sons said him being a part of the Undertaker Punk storyline. Paul loved the business so much. I think he would have loved that.
That's the thing. It's like I remember I was offended for him until like everybody who actually knew Paul Bearer came out and said he would have loved that. He absolutely would have loved that he was part of that angle. And
absolutely.
I'm like, that's where it's like, okay, I still think it's a little tasteless, but if the people who actually knew him and it aren't just the, Owen Hart would have wanted the show to go on type of thing. It's like the people who actually knew him said that he would love being part of this. It's like, okay, I'll be okay with it, I guess.
Arya, if I die and you can use my death in an angle to get over, be my guest.
Is this where we got to have an intervention for you again? We already had one of those.
I told you I'm good now. I'm never gonna do the Von Erich thing.
Okay,
still might get hit by a bus. You can't plan for every contingency.
That is true. Although depending on how you get hit by a bus, you may still be living. Just saying. I've watched enough TV shows. Some people continue to live, some people die. Hey, Darby Allin legitimately got hit by a bus, and he climbed Mount Everest. So I don't want to hear that.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway, I don't know if we implied that he won, but Scott Hall did win with the superplex that caused Rick McCord to go into toxic shock. And yes, for those curious, this is Scott Irwin, not Scott Hall, but his nickname is Hog, H-O-G, but it always sounds like they're saying Hall, H-A-L-L, thus Scott Hall Irwin.
His full name is actually Scott Henry O. Godwin Irwin.
Irwin?
Yeah.
Godwin Irwin. Okay. What's Chauncey's full name?
Hold on, I had this. William Phineas I. Godwin Irwin. Isn't he Pig?
No, it's
well, I know he's wild.
It's Chauncey Phineas I. Godwin. Irwin.
Okay, there we go. I forgot that. Yeah, you're right. I missed that part of itself.
In World Class, Bill Irwin's real name is Chauncey, and I have to think Because wasn't what's his name a writer on Friends? Oh my God, who was it that was a WWE writer that was originally a writer on Friends?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
No. It was, anyway, whoever it was, somebody was a writer on Friends, and it's gonna occur to me at some point. And the reason why I mention that is because Chandler, when he met Monica's parent, was it when he met Monica's parents? Somebody called him Chauncey, and now it's all I can think is, I bet whoever it was that wrote that was whoever the hell that is that ends up in WWE as a writer. It's killing me. I can't remember who the hell that is. I think wasn't it Lagana?
Maybe. I don't know. I never really watched Friends. I didn't like, I was kind of too young for it. And then when it came on like Nick at Night, I just didn't like it.
The problem with Nick at Night, it's like, oh, I don't know if I believe this or not, but when I Googled it, according to AI, it was Gewurz. And I don't. No, I think it is Dave Lagana. I don't know why Google AI thinks it's Gewurz, but it's Dave Lagana who was on Friends, who wrote for Friends.
The AI
So anyway,
is only as smart as your information literacy.
oh yeah, so my complaint about Nickelodeon and Friends, like Friends chopped up for syndication is a 20-minute show, and then Nickelodeon for some reason puts it in a 35-minute block. So when you watch Friends on Nickelodeon, there's 15 minutes of commercials. And it's like it's just a hard show to watch on Nickelodeon because there's so many fucking ads.
It just didn't grab me.
Anyway, up next was Khan with General Skandor Akbar versus Kevin Von Erich. Akbar has been in every segment of the show so far. Khan went for the thumb, but Kevin blocked it. Kevin claws Khan's cranium. Say that 5 times fast. Hayes attacks Kevin for the DQ and then goes after Khan. Max ran in for the save, and Maximum over Khan beat up Kevin and Hayes. Kevin and Hayes won the fight, so Hayes went after Kevin, and Kevin won that fight. And then Bronco declared the match totally out of control, which means Bronco should be fined at the very least because it's his job to maintain control.
Bronco is bad at his job.
Indeed he is. Indeed he is. We then... what are your thoughts on Kevin versus Khan?
I found this rather enjoyable while it lasted. I enjoy Killer Khan a lot, and I still think Kevin is the best wrestler of the boys at this point. And yeah, so the 4 minutes that they went before all the shit happened was good.
So Kevin is the best wrestler in the boys?
the Von Erich boys.
Okay, so you don't want him coming out there with Dalton Castle?
I absolutely do want Kevin Von Erich in 2025 to come out with Dalton Castle in full boy regalia.
Yes, that would be tremendous. Bill Mercer then lied to us. He said that we were going to have a main event of tremendous size. He says that despite Mike Von Erich being in the match.
Well, the match was giant size, not the participants.
Okay. Well, the main event was Buddy Roberts and 255 Michael Hayes versus 222 bullshit Mike Von Erich and gentleman Chris Adams. Mike Von Erich is not 222 pounds.
Hayes sure changed from t-shirt and jeans into his sequin wrestling gear pretty quick.
Ain't that the truth? I'm convinced if you'd have said 122 pounds, you'd be closer to the real answer than 222 pounds.
It's not about weight limits. It's about no limits.
This is not the X division.
Arya, what is the middle letter in Texas?
Then why are these? Then why have the vast majority of TNA shows never occurred in Texas?
Oh, well, several have. No, look, you got to look at the history of it, okay? Originally, this territory when it was under the dominion of Spain and then Mexico was Tejas with a J.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we Texans actually revolted against Mexico to put the X right in the middle of Texas because they knew it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits.
So did Armando Estrada get big in heat at WrestleMania 24 when he said Chavo Guerrero was from El Paso, Tejas?
Nah.
Okay. For the record, I remember that because Armando Estrada is the only person I ever heard call it Tejas, so I had it in the back of my mind.
It's funny. There's
By the way,
when,
I'll wait till the end of the show to bring this one up.
Oh, I was going to say one of the clients that I drive my blind friend to work with lives out in the middle of fucking nowhere in Coots, Texas, and there's a gas station there called Tejas that if you ever find yourself in Coots, Texas, go into the Tejas and get yourself a either a catfish plate or the shrimp quesadilla. Recommend both.
Okay. By the way, other companies that are not giving us money for these plugs. And for those of you who complain about me going off on a tangent, I've gone off on 0 tangents on this episode.
And for
Anyway,
those of you who complain about me going off on tangents, I don't give a fuck.
Mostly because Trey doesn't read the comments unless I screenshot them and send them to him. So we're informed that we're going to have 2 new wrestlers coming up in the territory soon. And I think they got this backwards, and maybe you can shed some light on this because I just don't know. But we're informed that from a famous wrestling family, Sweet Brown Sugar Skip Young will be here, as will Jake the Snake Roberts.
So I was kind of.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was really intent on the match, which I'll explain when that happened, that I didn't catch the Skip Young part. I heard Bill Mercer say Jake the Snake Roberts, and then I snapped back to, wait, what? Is Jake coming in?
Yes, he is. And
Okay,
my thought is he related to Buddy?
No, but Buddy might be the only wrestler he's not related to.
I wrote, who the fuck is Sweet Brown Sugar Skip Young related to? I was scrolling through Reddit during the vast majority of this match. Mercer mocked David Manning Von Erich's short attention span, and Adams pinned Roberts with a small package. Akbar was shockingly not in this segment. After the match, the Freebirds beat up Adams and Mike.
Okay, I want to say 2 things. They showed a really cute redhead with an I Love Chris Adams t-shirt, and I have never wanted to be Chris Adams so badly. And the other thing is I had the crisis again this week. And I'm sure is Mike good? Like sometimes I think Mike is kind of good, and it's usually when Buddy Roberts is involved.
Mike is talented enough to be carried by the veterans of the territory. And
Mike had a good match and a half decent promo this week.
I mean, he was also in the ring with Buddy Roberts again, and
True.
Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes, as we've noted, he doesn't get he doesn't have the reputation of being a good worker. Like everyone remembers Michael Hayes for talking, but Michael Hayes is a lot better than he ever gets his credit for here.
I mentioned I recently got the 1984 All Japan TV set, and I can confirm that Hayes can bust ass when he wants to. Here it was like I've talked about. Hayes has some kind of innate ability to make Kerry look better than almost anyone, and that appeared to also extend to Mike. Because like Hayes made Mike look pretty good too.
Apparently, if your last name is Von Erich, Michael Hayes knows how to put you over.
Yeah, it's like everybody's got their because like Gordy and Kevin was always because they're the big fucking cement fuckers, but yeah.
So after the match, we got a Mike Von Erich promo, and I'm like, no, fuck no, I'm not playing this. He's mad that the Freebirds cheated. And we mentioned earlier about Dr. X and his suspect doctorate. Well, Dr. Mike Von Erich was here telling us that Chris Adams will be all right, and then claimed that he'll be here next week. Time to turn the show off.
Look. Mike is not out there
Mike.
fucking shit up. And it wasn't a great promo, but he wasn't a deer in the headlights. He didn't get lost out there. Mike is fine. It's going to be the thing in Israel that fucks him up.
There we go. So that does it for the World Class show. Like I said, these shows can sometimes be hard to get through, especially since there was no Gino this week, especially because there was no World Class Rewind this week. There was no Buck Zumhoff to fast forward through this week. It was 45 minutes of just world classiness.
I didn't think it's always gonna be the shit is too long. Like Scott Irwin and Rick McCord probably would have been more effective at 4 minutes instead of 8. But for 8 minutes, it was good. They had a good match. I don't know. It's still the formatting on the show is what it is. But the wrestling has been better the past couple of shows.
It's just sometimes hard to get through.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't help that we started with the 12-minute series of promo segments, and then it was long match. Like, I don't know how they could have done it because, we had to bring up Khan a couple times throughout the show, but it's like I felt like there should have been a way to edit in a way that's like, okay, we do the beginning where we see Khan joining with Akbar, then we have a match, then we go to that Akbar promo where we slowly zoom in on him, then we have another match, then we have the Freebirds respond, then we have the main event. It's like that would have been a nice way to break the show up a little bit, as opposed to because that 12-minute promo, that was a fucking long thing to get through. It was long to go through all that back to back to back to back like that.
Yeah, no argument.
All right, so that was World Class this week. Apparently, John Cena has. Did you ever see The Marine?
No.
Well, John Cena said that his part wasn't into it while he was filming it. Now, my thought is it wasn't his part. It was more his kidney because this was right after Jesus stabbed him in the kidney. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay.
By the way, Jesus, greatest, surgeon of all time because no scarring at all.
I don't know.
Cena's been wrestling for over 21 years since.
I don't know if I have watched a movie that Cena had like a prominent role in. I remember, he has he's in a background shot in Ready to Rumble, and then I watched. My wife likes Tina Fey, so we watched that Sisters movie with her and Amy Poehler, and Jonathan is in that briefly.
I love me some Tina Fey.
Yeah.
The Marine, I tried watching it on either HBO or Cinemax at the time, and the whole story of the movie is that John Cena's wife got kidnapped, and he tries to go and get her. The first 15 minutes of the movie was John Cena single-handedly destroying Al-Qaeda. Single-handedly. He discovers their camp, and he gets told by his superior officer, do not engage, wait for backup. And John Cena is John Cena. He does not wait for backup, and he single-handedly took down Al-Qaeda and got discharged from the military for it. And so I found it a little hard to get into a movie where John Cena is going to take an hour and 10 minutes to find his wife after he single-handedly destroyed Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda? That's a lot of vowels.
Yes, it is. All right. So Trey, I bought a new car this week.
You sure did.
By the way,
Congratulations.
this is where everyone can turn the show off because we're going to start talking about nonsense now. Um, Thank you, by the way. So this is my second ever car. I bought my what still is technically my current car, which is a 2011 Nissan Versa. I bought that in March of 2021 when Biden gave us $1,400 after towards the end of the pandemic. And so I used that as my down payment for that car.
I had no
And
idea that was your first car.
yeah, I love my Nissan Versa. Like it was time to move on. But it's like it was my first car. And today, as we're recording this, I needed to burn some gas because I just filled the tank up on Wednesday. And I'm like, you know what? I need to use up some gas here. They can't get my entire gas tank here for free too. And so I was driving around and like suddenly like all the memories I had of this car came flooding back. Because like I went to Chicago for Brawl Out driving this car. I went to Buffalo. I went to Niagara Falls. I went to WrestleMania in Philly in this car. Like I've been all around the Northeast in this car. I've had great moments. I've had some very sad moments. It's like, and it really hit me. And I was crying driving home today. And it's like, I know it's kind of corny, but you know, it I it was time to move on, but like at the same time, I'm gonna be sad to see it go. And on my first day I had that car, I gave it a big hug and then I took it for a drive. And today on my last day, I gave it a big hug and I took it for a drive. Um, my
That's
new
awesome. That's
yes. Yeah. My new car is a 2017 Chevy Trax, which depending on who you talk to, is either a great car or a car that's going to blow up on me in 5 minutes.
well, you drove it at least 5 minutes for a test drive, I assume.
I did. I did. It handled very well. And I mentioned this to you. It's like it had a very good vibe. When I got in the car, I'm like, because this was the second car I looked at, and I'm like, this is me. This is my car. Like you just like I can't explain it, but you know it when you sit in something. It's like, okay, we're we're one here. And yeah. Um and I mean that's basically all I have to say about that there. You mentioned earlier you wanted me to remind you about your Toyota Camry.
Oh, it was just you were telling me about, you're giving your farewell to your old car, and I just thought about, so I was telling you the story about how my wife and I bought the car that we have now, which was the first like new car that I ever had. And it was we were gonna go get Chinese food one night, and like we had been talking about getting a new car for a while, and we had kind of narrowed it down to a Toyota Camry or a Ford Fusion because we wanted a hybrid. And she just happened to mention that she saw on, and again, my wife is blind, so she didn't know, but she just happened to mention it right as I was driving by the Toyota dealership, so I just whipped in, and we just found the exact car that we wanted, and they really wanted to give us a deal on it, so we ended up buying a car. And then I went to get in my 2003 Crown Victoria to take it home, and the son of a bitch died.
It was very appropriate.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that Iron Cheek Toyota commercial from like 1985, where like they have the
Not that
Toyota in the it's like they've got a Toyota in the ring, and it ends with Sheik jumping up in the air, and they're having like an inset promo of him saying "Unbeatable Freedom, Toyota." I've seen that 15-second commercial a lot, so like that every time I hear Toyota, I think of Iron Sheik saying "Unbeatable Freedom."
That sounds really great.
Okay, so we've talked about on this show, I'm pretty sure, that I am not a fan of the House of Torture, and I'm not a fan of evil by association. However, Evil has a fucking kick-ass theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Evil's theme song.
He had
And
a great theme song when he was in LIJ too.
I gotta say, between Evil and Taichi, I think I like, New Japan's theme songs more than sometimes New Japan's wrestling. And New Japan is great wrestling. I just,
They
uh,
have great themes.
yes. By the way, I was talking to somebody about this before the show started. Who is New Japan's ace right now?
Well, there's not really one right now. We're in a transition period because Tanahashi is getting ready to retire. And again, I went off on a thing and I've only seen about the first 5 days of G1. I'm gonna buckle down and start catching up this week. I do know who won the tournament and what the final was, but that's all I know. But yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking to my friend because at this point in August of 2025, I don't think Takeshita wins the IWGP title in the Tokyo Dome. I could feel differently come January 4th, but right now, I don't think he wins the title.
Well, I think you're right that he's not going to win the title at the Tokyo Dome because I think he's already said that he wants to challenge before the Tokyo Dome.
See, that's what my friend said. I'm like, I didn't watch the post-show promo, so I don't know. But I'll be honest, like, it made sense that Zack Sabre Jr. didn't want to wait for the Tokyo Dome. I I hope that doesn't become a regular thing because I like the whole winner of the G1 defends the briefcase for 3 months and then has his title match in the Tokyo Dome thing.
And look, I'm fine with them doing that too, which they already, like, several years ago, they stopped doing the defenses. And then like that yeah, in like 2022. But they the whole thing of the G1 winner getting a title shot on the January 4 Tokyo Dome show, that wasn't a thing until Okada won the G1 in 2012.
Yeah. I know, like, Okada knew that I was going to start watching New Japan soon, and so he wanted to, give me something to, like, associate the two major events that I started watching together.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty flexible.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, because, like, even that, like, it's still now a tradition. It's like a 10-year plus tradition that the winner of the G1 challenges for the title on January 4th.
Well, they
And
broke it last year, so it's not a tradition anymore.
I know, but like I said, at least last year it made sense. Like, unless Takeshita.
Why did it make sense last year and not this year?
Because Zack Sabre Jr. won it and wanted to wrestle for the title in his home country. Like, that made sense. Like, the only thing I could see, like, and even this is like, because Don Callis doesn't really. I know he does because they mention it a lot on the English commentary. But it's like Don Callis doesn't really have anything to do with New Japan. But I could see the story being like, well, Don Callis wants him to have the title match in America or some such thing. But I don't know.
I think Takeshita doesn't give a shit about Wrestle Kingdom and just wants to be the champion.
He is an outsider, after all. An outsider with 3 contracts, as we're constantly informed of.
I mean, if you were a wrestling promoter, wouldn't you want to have Konosuke Takeshita under contract?
I would. I think, he should be under contract everywhere.
I think that he was built in a laboratory to be the perfect pro wrestler.
I think, like, at the end of the day, I did not think he was going to win. My pick was Shota Umino. That's what I thought was going to win the G1 this year. I was wrong. However, especially as the tournament was playing itself out, he was far and away the person who should have won the G1. Like, if you were to rank the top 9 matches, actually, I'm sorry, the top 12 matches of the G1, I'm pretty sure you could list all 12 of Takeshita's matches. And that would be the top 12. It's like, he's that good. And yeah, fine. The Evil match was more of a semifinal or even quarterfinal vibe than a final. Because they've been texting when I was watching. I'm like, this is certainly the G1 finals. And I was saying that completely tongue in cheek. But it's like, I don't know how much you really want me to say because you know who won, but I do like that they gave us the House of Torture bullshit and then gave us an out on the House of Torture bullshit. So it's
I
like,
haven't seen the match, and I'm sure that I'm gonna fucking hate that aspect of it, and then I'm sure when it's over, I'll be fine with it because I just don't get that worked up about things unless they're really fucking stupid. I don't. I'm not a. I'm not a. I'm not a. This doesn't make sense because I don't want it to person. I don't say that things don't make sense unless they actually don't make sense.
I do question at this point with what happens during that match. Why doesn't that happen during every House of Torture match? Because it happens in every fucking House of Torture match. It's not like, oh, we just decide to interfere ad nauseum once or twice, every 10 matches.
Yeah, well, why isn't every match in AEW under Continental rules where anybody who interferes will be fired?
I've asked that before. Hey, technically, they never say whoever interferes will be fired. They just keep saying there's no interference and have never given us
No, they have explicitly said that anybody who interferes in a Continental Rules match will be fired.
Well, they have not said that enough because I have complained on this show before about how they just say that you can't interfere without giving any sort of punishment as to what happens if you do.
Number one, you go months without watching AEW, and number two, when you do, you don't pay very much attention to details like that.
Wow. I'm sorry, Okada wrestles once every 6 months, and I may have missed one or two.
This was a thing for like before Okada. Never mind.
I was gonna say, the good thing you stopped there because before Okada was like a 3 month period. Like, Okada's been the fucking champion basically the entire run of the belt, except for that 3 months when we decided Eddie Kingston was going to be the American Triple Crown champion.
Yeah, the 3 months where they established the Continental Rules and just whatever. What's going on in wrestling this week? That's the other show. I don't know.
Well, that's the other show. So, Stewart got fucked over in the Letterkenny Adult Spelling Bee.
There was a lot of fuckery going on in that spelling bee.
Well, at the end of the day, Katie turns out she spelled the word correctly, but they thought she misspelled it. And then Stewart went up and spelled it, and he spelled it what they thought was correctly, but turned out to be incorrectly. But then they reversed the decision and said that it turns out Katie spelled it correctly, so she wins. But if Katie spelled the word correctly, then that means Stewart should have been given another word. Because we're reversing everything that happened. It's like when Magnum TA was no longer the North American champion, it reverted away from Nikolai Volkov back to Butch Reed. Like you can't if we're reverting back to say that Katie spelled the word right, then Stewart should have been given a shot to spell a word correctly.
I was reading
and again,
Boy personally.
Poor Joint Boy. I popped hard that, and I guess to be fair, I couldn't really tell you which one's which anyway, but I popped hard that Riley and Jonesy had their tags, and their tags instead of saying one saying Riley and one saying Jonesy, they both said Riley and Jonesy.
Jonesy is the dark-haired one, and Riley is the blonde one that always wears a hat.
Ultimately, does it matter? It's like they're so linked together. It's like, yeah, just Riley and Jonesy have entered the spelling bee as one.
Yeah, it's funny. I told you this over Messenger, but I am pretty sure that is the only episode of Letterkenny where Wayne identifies Riley and Jonesy by name.
Oh, God. If you've never watched Letterkenny, ladies and gentlemen, it's a tremendous fucking show.
Yeah, if you never watched Letterkenny, pull your finger out of your ass.
So here's a spoiler for tomorrow's TNA show. Cindy popped me in a way that I did not expect Cindy to ever pop me. So we were talking, and it was during Kazarni's TNA debut, where he is not Jim Cornette's wife, Stacy, but he still wrestles as Sin. And so I brought up Kazarni, and I had mistakenly thought that he was the person that appeared on SmackDown for like 2 weeks doing vignettes and then quit the company. And it turns out it was not Kazarni. Kazarni apparently had a couple very bad matches on TV. And then I said to Stacy, I said to Cindy, who was it that appeared for a couple vignettes and then quit the company? And she said it with zero hesitation. So Trae, I'll see if you can match this. Who appeared on SmackDown for a couple vignettes and then disappeared, having quit the company?
I don't know.
You're already slower than Cindy.
Yeah.
Cade Vanson.
Cade Vanson?
Cade Vanson. Hade Vanson. Vansen.
That's not a real name. You're making that up.
No, I'm really not. Apparently, he was going to come in and feud with The Undertaker, of all fucking people. And much like Mordecai, it did not work out for Cade Vanson in his feud with The Undertaker. I imagine Undertaker saw him and went to Vince and went, nah, brah. And Cade Vanson quit before he even made it to TV.
I have zero memory of the name Cade Vanson.
I can only attest because the name is so awful that I'm like, okay, that is definitely a person.
That
yeah.
does sound like a terrible WWE name from that period.
The sad thing is, I can't find him having a real name outside of Cade Vanson.
Huh. Well, you know, people got weird names.
Yes. Yes, they do. And apparently he's a British wrestler. And Freddie Prinze Jr. apparently was the one behind him coming into feud with The Undertaker.
Damn Freddie Prinze Jr.
This is from WrestleTalk.com. Insane story behind WWE canceling plans for Cade Vanson to debut as Undertaker's son. Okay.
Huh.
So Freddie Prinze Jr. revealed, we received a note from Vince that said Undertaker needed an opponent to run through before the next pay-per-view storyline. Someone had gotten hurt. I don't remember who. But before we could get Taker to Edge, they wanted someone that we could just run through, but they wanted us to have it to be someone that could mean something. So they wanted us to find someone from FCW that they could bring up, assign a gimmick to, and then basically smash and destroy him for The Undertaker. And Freddie Prinze Jr. apparently talks way too much, because I'm not going to sit and read this whole fucking thing.
Did you ever hear Cornette?
So he's cutting these promos and...
I'm sorry, finish.
Talk about Cade Vanson? No, I haven't.
No, it was something else, but somewhat related.
So we get the story approved by Freebird, and then we get approved by Vince. We start shooting these little segments, and they're airing on television. It's an ongoing thing. He's not calling out The Undertaker, but he's speaking about The Undertaker, and you're just wanting to figure out what the reason for it is. It was this father-son thing. So we're building up. I think we got 2 weeks of TV out of it. Then we went to Bristol, Connecticut. We shoot the promo, and it's the best one he's done so far. It's not showtime yet. We shot this, but we shot this before the show because this was the tape show, not the live one. So he had more time to accomplish these goals. And oh my God, I just scrolled down, and he spoke for another like 10,000 words about this. Cade Vanson is not that interesting that I need to read 10,000 words about Cade Vanson.
I didn't know there were 10,000 words to be written about Cade Vanson.
Well, it's 10,000 words Freddie Prinze Jr. spoke about Cade Vanson, and someone at WrestleTalk sat here and wrote them all out.
Well,
Props
Freddie Prinze Jr. is a loquacious fellow.
Yeah. Let me see here. It doesn't even say who wrote this fucking article. Props to whoever at WrestleTalk.com is so good at writing out this entire fucking interview, but not good at taking credit for writing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, how the hell do you seriously not plug your own whatchamacallit? Plug your own article, put your own name in it, god damn it. Anywho, so what was Jim Cornette doing?
Oh, so he told a story one time, and I think, and it might have been like him and somebody like him and Pritchard in, I don't know, a taxi or an Uber at some point. And the driver is kind of a big redheaded kid, and he claims that his father is the Undertaker. And Cornette says, "Well, big redheaded kid, maybe." And the next thing out of his mouth was, "Yeah, and Kane's my uncle." And then he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, it's bullshit."
I did not ever hear Corny talk about that, but then again, I guess I don't know how it would have been titled, but I tend to avoid anything Cornette talks about modern day wrestling.
I do not remember the context that it came up in. It was probably when I was still listening to the whole shows every week.
Honestly, there's two things that led to me stop listening to every week. It was I just like I like my opinions about AEW are tend to be somewhere in the middle, but for the same reason I don't listen to Dave talk about AEW, I don't need to listen to Cornette talk about it because both are very extremely opinionated on either side of the AEW aisle, and I'm not nearly in either direction. So I don't need to hear about it. It was that and the show going to like 3 hours. I say that as somebody doing this show now for 2 hours.
Yeah, it was. It just got to be exhausting.
Mm-hmm. All right. So somehow we did make it 2 hours on this show. I think it's time to tap out. What do you say, Trey?
Well, we made it to 2. I guess we can go home, and I guess we'll be back Thursday.
Yep, for Smoky Mountain. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank everyone for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.